dead of winter, we are finally back to breathe life back into your baseball fandom. Or at least, we're going to try. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Tom.
I'm Kim.
And we are three old Reds fans coming to you not from Studio 82, but from our auxiliary location, Studio 251, Suite 190 JG. I don't think that really...
It was meant to be.
Was it meant to be? My initials? Otherwise known as Kim's palatial office. We're more than a few blocks from our good friends at Beans, in the heart of Cedarville, the famous birthplace and final resting place of Bumpus Jones. So Bumpus, we did our Bumpus Day in Cedarville on October 15th. Haven't had a show since then. Tom came to that. We had a good time, didn't we,
It
Tom?
was fantastic.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed ourselves.
And for those of you that couldn't make it, including you, Kim, who didn't come, he had something going on. I don't know what it was.
Had to be very important.
Had to be. It was some excuse. I don't remember what it was. People in town or something. Anyway, I'm just kidding you. There is a video on our YouTube channel. If you just search 3 Old Reds Fans or Bumpus Jones Day in YouTube, you should be able to find it. It's just a few minutes long. Got some interviews with some of the guys that played that day. And the proclamation by our fair mayor was there that day in that video. So it's kind of fun. See guys playing 1800s baseball. We had a good time.
It was a lot of fun. It was interesting that these guys play all the time. It's kind of like their version of a softball league, except it's 1800s version. And that one guy we talked to, remember, he played for how many years has he been playing?
He's been doing it for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Rooftop.
Great story. You got to watch the YouTube video for
it. Yeah, he
it.
gives his name why he goes by Rooftop.
And it's on the video.
It's on the video.
And so if you're in Slovenia, you can still watch.
So, yes, there's no translations.
Comrade.
Yes. Our metrics on our Podbean site tells us where our listeners are. So we have listeners. We've had people listen in like half the states and the District of Columbia. So maybe the president's listened to us. I don't know.
It could be.
Could be. And worldwide, we've had Canada pop up on there, Slovenia, Spain, Philippines, and Japan.
We're kind of a big deal. We're world famous.
Oh yeah, we are. This is the worldwide podcast.
It shows you just the love of the Reds, is what it shows you.
That's right.
And by the way, on Bumpus Jones Day, the second half of it, they let us play.
Yes,
and even though Jeff and I have been on the DL for quite a while with our backs, we were both able to show well.
Yeah, I bat met wood, or wood met ball, or whatever.
Something like that. You're
bat met ball.
Well, let me ask, did they have the DH?
I was the DH. No, I played in the field.
Everybody played the field.
I made a nice play in the outfield.
He did.
And I also fell down trying to make another one.
But we know. Is that on the video?
No. There's no video evidence of that. I had the editing suite.
So as much of a proponent as you are of the DH...
well, everybody got to bat, and everybody played in the field. It was just...
We had 15
like
in the
15
field.
people out in the field.
I'm just trying to give him a hard time.
Hey.
Tom and I don't like the DH, and Jeff is all about the DH.
Until the rubber meets the road.
And he probably likes participation trophies as well, but that's another story.
I do not. I don't have any. If I had some, I'd probably like them.
But if any of our listeners want to have a good time, go watch one of these 1800s baseball reenactment
it's called Vintage
games.
Baseball. In Dayton, Ohio, there's a couple teams, the Eastwood Iron Horses, and I can't remember the name of the other team that day, but it's in our video. And they're around. Any place you live, there's probably going on somewhere. If you just,
Columbus has one by the Ohio history area.
If you just Google Vintage Baseball in your area, you probably find it somewhere, and probably not this time of year if you're in the north.
And if you see a third baseman on one of the teams, and he calls himself Bumpus Jones, that's the mayor of our fine village, Cedarville, Ohio.
And when they're playing, they're like, "Hey, Bumpus, good hit, Bumpus." They do that. It's hilarious.
It's great.
Yeah, it's really fun. So, well, some call this time of year baseball talk the Hot Stove League. Even though we're old, we like to take a modern look at the world, right, Kim? WOBA, WRC plus. So hot stoves are out and space heaters. Lots of them this past month in Ohio are in. So welcome to our first and maybe the only show this winter known as Gather Around the Space Heater League. And the first question is, where's the hot chocolate?
I'm all about hot chocolate.
I'm with you, brother.
Well, I thought you were kind of misunderstanding the text. I was all about it, and didn't someone say it was too warm for hot chocolate? Did
He
you
did.
say that?
Well, it's like 50 degrees today.
Yeah, but it's not even
it's a
halfway
calm-
through winter.
Kim and I agree. There's
and-
not a bad time for hot chocolate.
And approximately 18 to 20 hours from now, we're supposed to be getting wintry mix and then turning into snow.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be nasty.
So for our listeners,
and then 7
pull up
degrees?
your chairs, grab a cup of hot chocolate,
Sit around a space heater.
A blanket.
sit on the space heater, and let's talk about the Reds.
Okay, let's do that. Can I have a piece of Good and Plenty? No, I'm just kidding. We actually have Tom has a box of Good and Plenty sitting on the table, which
I'd
probably
be eating it if we
which
weren't
is
talking.
probably the only box of Good and Plenty within the tri-state
No,
area.
I have 2 more at my house.
No, you do. I haven't seen a box of Good and Plenty since I was like trick or treating when I was 12.
Love it.
Okay. All right. Bullpens. The Reds have done a little bit of stuff there. This has not been, obviously, wheeler dealer off season.
I would call it a boring,
and I would
a typically boring.
and I didn't really
Reds.
expect it to be.
But did we do anything at this time last year?
I think for the last 10 years
Scooter was
we haven't
picked
done
up the
anything.
last week, right?
Yeah, and Arroyo was sort of an off-season thing. Storin was off-season. Feldman. I mean, we did because the pitchers were so young, and now they're a little older, and hopefully some of these guys are not going to be on so many innings limits. That's part of the problem. Why because some of these guys still aren't, they may well be ready to pitch 200 innings, but the way baseball is now, you got to monitor that. And
So,
We won't
guys,
get that out of Finnegan.
no, probably not.
so name the last year off season where the Reds have made a significant off season.
Who, Griffey Jr.?
Which how long ago was that?
Yeah,
1998,
yeah.
maybe something like that. I mean, it's been 10 years since the Reds have done something significant in the off season.
Scott Rowland probably came in an off season, and he was significant for a while.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, it doesn't happen a lot. Well, they're not the team that goes out and spends money on.
The thing that's
Welcome
significant-
to mid-market ball.
That's
Yeah,
right. The thing that
absolutely.
significantly happens to the Reds in the offseason is we lose big players.
Yeah.
Cueto, Cozart this year.
Yeah, and Jay Bruce goes back to the Mets. He ain't coming back to the Reds.
Right.
So, but we got Shebler in right field, so we don't need him anyway.
Oh, it starts again. 2018 is again a Shebler year.
Yes, it will be. He will get MVP votes this year.
Oh my
I
goodness.
don't know. I'm just saying that he might. He might not. He
I think
probably
it'll be fun to see Shebler and Winkler this year.
Winkler.
Henry
Hey.
Winkler.
Hey.
That's all we could afford.
we can't afford Winker, so we had to hire the Fonz to coach, to be the bullpen coach. So they get this Jared Hughes guy. Has had some success. Got some decent numbers. The ERA looks nice. Some would say some of the other metrics aren't as good as what the ERA makes him out to be. Whatever. We'll see what happens. What matters is what he does going forward. And we could use the bullpen help. I mean, for almost half a season last year, we thought our bullpen was really good, and then it was terrible after
Right.
that. They ended up, next to last in bullpen ERA after being a top 5
That was
ERA
amazing.
bullpen team for a while. And, of course, we know what the starters were like. And then they get this Vance Worley guy, sign him to a minor league deal. And he's got some big league experience, but last year his ERA was pretty high, like in the 6s, I think.
6.91.
Yeah, so he's going to get a chance to make the team, but
They don't expect to have to pay him some kind of big bonus if he makes the major league roster right off the bat.
So he's got to really perform in spring and make him really think that, or some other guys have to be hurt. So, what do we think right now? If we started today, Iglesias is a closer, and you got Hughes in there possibly as a setup guy.
About
Lorenz
Lorenz?
And Peralta's the
Where do you think
lefty.
Lorenzen's going to be?
Lorenz is probably back. Lorenz is probably still a bullpen guy. I don't think he can get into the rotation unless there's a lot of injuries again. I don't see it. I don't know. Is this a winning do we have any chance at a winning better bullpen this year?
Well, Iglesias is a top tier closer, I would say.
I know, but you need more than just that guy. It's all the guys.
It's the reliever we were talking about yesterday. Did very well in double and triple A.
Ariel Hernandez.
No,
Oh, Herget.
Herget.
Jimmy Herget. Yeah, and he's still probably a year or so away. He's pretty young. So, I mean, there's him and Ariel Hernandez who's kind of wild, I think.
He's performed incredibly well at Louisville, but the limited appearances he's had at the big league club, he's just really been hit hard.
Yeah, so there's some potential there, but that's why you got to go out and get a Hughes and a Worley, because you don't know if these young guys are really ready, and you don't want to burn them out or ruin their confidence too quick, too soon. And you want to try to compete. I don't know how serious they are about is the rebuild. Are we done rebuilding, or are we still rebuilding? I think we're still rebuilding.
No doubt.
We still are. Until you go out and win 90 games, you're rebuilding.
Right.
So
switching gears from pitching, is it for sure that Peraza's going to be at shortstop?
I think so. Prices has said as much. I mean, he's ready to do that.
But we don't know anything about second base.
No, I think Peraza. Peraza. The numbers I heard the other day, I don't remember the exact numbers, but last 48 games last year at the plate, he batted in the 290s, I think, and his OBP was up in the 360s.
His pitch selection dramatically increased.
His pitch selection got better. All those things got better. He's not going to be Cozart in the field, not right now anyway. But if he's a hard worker, if he's a Suarez type of hard worker on his defense, maybe he could get pretty good.
He's super young.
Yeah, he is, and we got to remember that he's young.
We got to assume Scooter's a second baseman then, with no other moves being made.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think so. The other guy in the wings is Dilson Herrera, but he didn't have a very good year last year all around. He was up and down, roller coaster kind of year.
How about Shed Long?
And Shed Long,
he'll go up to high single A this year.
Well, he was, he could get to double A.
He did.
He did get to double A last year. I think I'd have to look that up to be sure, but he's still not. He's not big league ready. I don't think. I think he needs another. He needs more, and we don't know what they're going to do with Senzel if they decide to make him a second baseman or not. That's the big question mark.
Well, you got to believe he'll be in AAA, right?
Start with AAA, and they'll bring him up no earlier. Obviously, no earlier in April. I told Jeff yesterday. I thought June, but who's intriguing to me that we haven't talked too much about with the outfield. We've talked about the 4-man possible rotation.
Right.
Okay. We've talked about the weak link at the plate of Hamilton in terms of average and OBP and lack of walks. Taylor Trammell continues to do incredibly well.
Well, he's pretty young still.
And he was, if I'm not
he was in Dayton
mistaken,
last year.
remind me, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he drafted in the same year as Senzel? And he was like their 1A pick, if you would. Because he was a high school stud in the state of Georgia, played football and baseball, and the Reds were saying, wow, they got him much higher than they thought they would.
See, he's not even on their 40-man yet.
Right, but I'm just talking outfield, and I'm sorry, I should have clarified. I'm thinking within 2 to 3 years, okay, do you not give up something? Do you not give up Hamilton to try to get someone, unless you get someone really good? And is Taylor Trammell the answer in 19 or 20?
Yeah, it's possible.
Or Jose Siri.
Based on his numbers and what we've seen him do?
Well, it says the Giants are interested in Billy.
Well, they have been.
This was right around Christmas. So
yeah, nothing's happened yet, but it's still time. You don't know what spring training happens. Guys get hurt. That's those kind of moves happen sometimes when guys get hurt.
Who else gets cut at the last second?
Yeah, like Scooter last year.
Yeah,
exactly. Those kinds of things can happen. 40-man right now outfield is Aquino, Duvall, Irvin.
Irvin.
Yeah, what? Philip Irvin?
Urban Meyer.
Oh, Urban, not Urban. Urban. Billy Hamilton, Scott Schebler, Jose Siri, Jesse Winker. Or Winkler. Is it Winker? It's Winker. Okay, sorry.
It was before tonight.
It was before tonight.
Is that going to be a thing now?
Yeah, probably. So, and of course, Siri made a big splash with that hitting streak last year in Dayton. So,
Siri's on the 40-man.
Aquino is a big 6'4" athlete. I saw him playing Dayton a couple years ago. He was better last year. Who knows? That's a guy they're going to give every chance to, because when you look at him, he's an athlete. Infield, Blandino had a nice
who's
year.
that?
He's been around.
Alex, right?
Yeah. He's a guy that could be one of those guys that someday, hey, that guy's a pretty good major leaguer, or he might never make it. Obviously. So I think, and Shed Long's on the 40 man. So they think, when you look at the 40 man, you start to think about, well, who do they think something of?
Mm-hmm.
Guys who aren't in AAA that are on the 40 man. So you see guys like Shed Long and Jose Siri and Aquino. You see them on the 40 man. The only catchers are Barnhart, Mesoraco, and Turner, and obviously they're not going to keep 3 catchers this year because they don't have to.
Right.
And that'll strengthen the bench because they wouldn't play him at all. The one thing I like, outfield. The one thing I like about the 4-man outfield thing is you've always got one of those guys coming off the bench.
Agreed.
And that's a pretty good thing because as long as we're going to let pitchers bat in the National League, you need some guys on the bench.
Really?
Really, seriously. As long as you do.
You still think there's hope?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Whatever. Do what you want. Some things I've read. Mark Sheldon's been writing some stuff on MLB.com. He covers the Reds for MLB. And, his thing was sort of what we talked about, the bullpen. If we started the season today, you're going to see guys like, obviously, Iglesias. You're going to see Lorenzen in there probably. You're going to see Peralta. The guy, Hughes, who they picked up, Kevin Shackelford probably, guys like that. And so, what's that, Kim? Jose Siri.
Just how well he's doing in the Dominican League.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
He's the youngest player on the team. He leads the league in playoff home runs after batting .321 during the season. Guy just continues to do well.
Could be really blossoming.
Yes,
that's the thing. You don't know who's going to blossom and who's not, and it's really it's hopeful. So I think they'll go with that 4-man outfield, unless they can get a really good offer for Billy or Duvall. And rotation, he's saying Finnegan looks like a starter again. I really think Finnegan. I don't know everything that they know, but I don't know. I just wonder with his arm. Should he be a bullpen guy? He has.
They need a lefty, and they have Peralta, obviously, who had a great year.
Right.
But I don't know if Finnegan is as good as Peralta.
Well, I don't know, but that Amir Garrett's a lefty. Let's see who.
Garrett's all washed up. He just proposed to his girlfriend. They're going to get married. That'll bust his whole career.
Okay.
Just kidding.
All right. Your wife doesn't listen to this podcast, does she?
It has nothing to do with me and my wife.
So the lefties on the 40-man right now are Finnegan, Garrett, Peralta, and Cody Reed.
Wow. Cody Reed.
Yeah, so there's a name.
Cody Reed.
But, the rotation probably looks like Bailey, Finnegan, DeSclafani, Castillo. And if push came to shove today, it'd probably be Romano. But
you don't think they're going to put Amir Garrett back in the
spring
rotation?
Training is no. He's got to really earn it back. Spring training is going to determine who that 5th guy is, and possibly who maybe one of the other guys is if a Finnegan or DeSclafani starts the season on the DL.
You got Stevenson in the wings.
Yeah.
Tyler Molly in the wings.
Yeah. I don't. You get to if they get to opening day with those 5 guys. If they get to opening day with Bailey, Finnegan, and DeSclafani healthy, I'll actually
be happy.
I'll actually be a little surprised. I'll actually be a little surprised.
I'd love to see Bailey be
so.
really healthy and have a strong year. He's due for that.
Yeah. And if they can, and those guys can stay healthy, this can be a better team, no doubt. I don't know if they can be a playoff team, but they can be a better team.
Well, weren't we sitting at this podcast in June-ish, optimistic, and thinking if they can just not hit a big stretch, they can stay in it for the rest of the year. And they hit a big stretch of losses.
They sure did.
I would like to take it past the All-Star break and have the Reds be in contention. That would be a successful year at this point.
Yeah, it would be.
Are we making predictions?
Predictions. Way too early prediction. So what was our? Remember last year? Was it 70? Was it
72 to
we all picked
76.
70?
Yeah, we all said about the same.
So
Are we going to win 80 this year?
can this team?
Go 500.
Can this be a 500 team if they stay relatively healthy? We know there's going to be some injuries. I mean, you can't lose 3 starting pitchers like they did last year, but you can lose 1 starting pitcher and still be a
So you're saying if they stay healthy, can this
relatively
40-man
healthy.
roster?
Yeah, relatively healthy. You know you're going to have some DL stints, but you just can't have like your outfield wiped out or your starting rotation wiped out or your whatever, your bullpen wiped out.
I hate to be a negative guy, but you're losing so much offense with Cozart that
If Peraza hits like he did in his last 2 months last year, you replace that offense.
no,
Yeah, you
there's
do.
not as much as Cozart.
Well, not as many home
Power,
runs,
RBIs.
but setting the table if you move him up in the lineup.
I mean, with the same pitching we had last year and without Cozart, that's really what we have. Same
I don't
pitching as
know.
last year and without Cozart.
I think you have Suarez who could have a breakout year. Peraza could.
Coulda. I say no. I don't think they'll be a 500 team.
All
I
right.
still think we're around 72, 75 wins.
All right. Can they get to 500, Kim?
Can they? Sure, they can. Will they? Once we come out of spring training, let's see how the pitching staff is. Are they healthy?
No. You got to say right now.
This is the
I
way
don't
too early.
gotta.
Grace.
You gotta. You're in the.
If
you're
you want any of that
around
good and
the-
plenty, you do.
If you want good
You see
plenty,
how we're going after that, don't you? Okay, if I gotta be part of the club, so to speak, I will say no. It's based more on where we were last year than anything I've seen going into this year.
Yes, it's an uphill climb, and if I had to say yes or no today, and I had to put money on it, I would not bet.
I just don't see anything
But at the
improved.
same time, I was so excited the last 4 to 6 weeks with the pitching, the young pitchers, how well they developed. The wild card, 2 wild cards as I see it, DeSclafani and Homer Bailey. If those, I'm not counting on DeSclafani, but Bailey, now that he had basically almost a full season behind him, I think there was the starts right before the All-Star break at Colorado, at Arizona. Those were the only 2 back-to-back starts he had that were
I remember that.
very good.
Yeah.
If we can get him on a somewhat more consistent basis, then we've got Castillo, we got Bailey. We'll see how the young pitchers do. And if DeSclafani can come back to form, we'll take it in a heartbeat.
All right. Well, commercial time. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Or at our home website at 3oldredsfans.podbean.com. We're on Twitter at 3oldredsfans. We're on Facebook. You can search 3oldredsfans, just one word. That's how we spell here.
The number 3.
The number 3, Old Reds fans. Yes. You can also be a patron. If you want to donate $1 a month, help us out. Help us build our hardware so we can be a little more high tech.
Maybe you could actually see us, but we do some video for
Oh
these.
yeah, we could start Facebook living our podcast. I don't know if anybody
That'd be
would
cool.
watch, but we could do it.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, from this palatial environs here.
It's a nice
It's
environment.
opulent.
Well, I have a trivia question.
All right, go right ahead.
Oh, that's awesome.
This state, 45 years ago, 73, let me help you do the math.
Yeah, just thank you.
Major League Baseball, kind of, voted on a change.
The state.
This
This
date.
date.
The state.
This date.
So it'd be 73.
Reserve
be a-
clause.
What's that?
Reserve clause. Free agency.
No, free agency was 75.
Yeah, that's
6.
right. That was a couple years later.
When did the DH go in?
Oh, there you
you go.
go. Wow, this should be a national holiday.
And I used this last year. Who
Or
was the
excuse me, an
first
American
DH?
holiday,
Who
not
was
a
the first
national
DH?
holiday. Dan Dreesen.
No, that was the National
Oh,
League.
the National League. Oh, it's like Claudel Washington or somebody.
Nope.
I don't remember.
Where do you come up with that name? Is that even a real person?
Yeah, Clyde Washington played for the A's. I don't
Not
remember.
to be confused with Herb Washington.
Yeah,
Herb Washington, Kansas City.
He was a Yankee.
it's a different Herb. Oh, I don't know. Ron Blomberg.
Bloomberg.
What?
And
How do you
interestingly
just
I
enough,
guess
just
that?
remembered.
Interestingly
it just popped
enough-
into my head.
someone stated, tweeted that and said, look forward to the National League to start using it. And one of our Reds, our pitcher who is our best hitter is,
Lorenzen?
and look what Lorenzen gave to the response of, can't wait for the National League to start using the DH.
Wow. Wonder why.
So obviously, Jeff Gilbert will not be a fan of that thumbs down.
Thumbs down. Well, Lorenzen, you better worry about being able to get guys out coming out of the bullpen instead of swinging the bat.
Oh, now we're going to be hurting.
Yeah.
Our ratings are going to be hurting.
Where are you going down?
No Reds will listen to us now.
They don't have very far to go. All right. Anything else? We wrap this up.
Just that the great part about spring training coming up is we can all be optimistic. You just never know.
Even though we all said they can't win half the games.
You made us say something.
But you know what? I guarantee our spring training episode will all be optimistic.
Yes, we will. Anybody going? I'll be in Florida. I'm going to try to catch a couple Grapefruit League games.
That'd be fun.
Sarasota and Bradenton. But I won't.
Are you going to go see the Orioles play?
see the Orioles play? He's like, "Why do you want to see the Orioles?" I said, because that's
The
the
only
team
one.
that's there.
Yeah.
He says, "What's so big about the Orioles? I'm going to go see the Orioles play. What's so big about them? Well, that's where they're there. I'm not going out to Goodyear, Arizona, while I'm in Florida to watch the Reds. It's kind of
We
far.
need to do that. We need to do that.
One of these days.
That would be awesome.
We're not old enough to retire yet, so once we do,
So if you'd like to be a patron and contribute to our trip to Goodyear,
there you go.
please do.
Please do. Every dollar counts.
Dr. Guernsey, we're looking at you.
Oh my! And those people in Slovenia. There's a good exchange rate. I think. Okay. All right, that's all for now. Perhaps when we meet again, the Reds roster will look a little bit different, but we doubt it. No losses have piled up yet. No promising pitchers are on the DL for who knows how long. And Duvall isn't slumping yet.
And Billy hasn't popped up.
And Billy hasn't popped up. So even if we're happy to admit it, that we're a little naive, we still believe.
We sure do.
And so until next time, go Reds.
Go Reds.
The Reds.